Hey guys, hey, welcome to the show. This is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal, and tonight we are visiting, ouch, upstate New York, and a team called Soul Searchers Paranormal Research LLC. You know what? I got to get mines. But hey, tell the world a little bit about yourselves. Sean, starting with you.
Well, uh, my name's Sean. I've been investigating since 2007. Um, for a little bit about myself, I guess. 15 years of law enforcement background. Then I got smart and decided to switch professions. And now I'm just a regular factory worker. So I have a wife and two kids. Keep it simple, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead, Olivia.
All right. I'm Olivia. I have been with the team for a couple years, 2-3 years now. Sean brought me on, and I am more than thankful for that. I am a believer in all sorts of things until you give me reason not to. This has been a passion of mine since I was little. I've always been interested in it, so I'm super, super lucky to be a part of a team, especially Soul Searchers. We have a really good group. But I work full-time, and other than that, when I'm not working, this is what I like to do.
Okay.
Good.
Last but not least, Mr. Mike.
Thank you. My name is Mike. I've been investigating the paranormal a few extra years before Sean. I did work for New York State DOT up here for 33 years before I decided to retire. I work full-time at another job, which I very much like. And I met Sean, I can't remember how many years ago. But I've stuck with this man through thick and thin. We've gone through some ups, some downs, and right now this team is a very good team. I'm really liking everybody.
Okay, cool. But Olivia, I'm gonna pick on you because you said something that I am. Yeah. So you just said that you enjoy everything paranormal. So I'm gonna pick on you for a moment. I'm gonna push your buttons here, and I want you to tell me what you think. Okay. But before that happens, guys, we're gonna go to a quick commercial. We're gonna go advertise these cookies that were baked for me and a thing of Polar Pop. So please be with me, and I'll be back in a minute. Wow. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Hey, man, that was a quick commercial. Hey, but tonight we have
Mike wasn't.
Soul Searchers Paranormal Research LLC from Auburn, New York. Hey, guys, appreciate you coming on the show. But a couple minutes ago, before the commercial, Olivia, I'm gonna pick on you right now, if you don't mind. It's all in fun.
That's okay.
You said
She's used to it.
if you can repeat what you just said, that would be great.
As far as
That whole little segment you just did, please.
She's we keep her around for entertainment as well.
I was gonna say that's not the only thing that I'm good for, but I definitely serve purpose when it comes to good entertainment.
There's a fair chance that she forgot what she said.
There's a high chance.
Okay. Well, you know what? you said you love to investigate everything. And when people say that, my mind kind of goes wandering because when we talking about the paranormal, there's so many different aspects of it. You know what I'm saying? You got urban legends over here. You got the folklore over there. There's so many different aspects of the paranormal. You got demonologists back here. You got people over there that are doing so many crazy things. So when you say you do that, do you actually do it?
As far as enjoying or believing?
Believing and investigating every aspect of the paranormal.
So I feel as if it's very limited as far as investigating much more beyond the typical basic paranormal. I feel like as far as investigating anything, as far as like urban legends, that is really not much more than just reading into it and then you take in what you believe. I believe that anything is possible, whether that be as far as urban legends. I mean, who am I to say that it's not? I wasn't there. I didn't start it. So I think that everybody is, they have their own opinions, but I do believe in absolutely anything that comes my way until it's proven solidly that it's not real, if that makes sense.
Okay, now, if you lived here in Texas and you, say for an example, because urban legends is a big thing down here. There's so many different urban legends, man. And a lot of people believe in these things. A lot of paranormal teams that are here in Texas, some of them only focus on urban legends, because there is so many here. So if you ever get a chance to come down here and visit Texas, man, urban legends are some of the amazing things that you can actually investigate. Man, I mean, when it comes to that, dude, I'm speechless because there's so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not called, and I'm not bragging about this. We're not called the most haunted state in the country for a reason, because it's so much going on here that, man, you'd be like me with all that. You wouldn't have no hair in your head. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the way it is, guys. You know what, Mike?
Yes.
You been around just as long as Sean.
Yep.
Tell me a little something about Sean.
Come on. Wait, is this a family show?
Oh God, we're I can say Sean's, outside of the team, we're really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. And there's nothing I wouldn't do. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do for the man. Everything. He took a chance on me many moons ago, and I hope it paid. And I hope he's liked what he's seen over the years. Because I've been with a couple other teams before him, and the founder of those teams just wanted it his way, and that's it. Sean listens to everybody on the team. And to me, that's, what a good founder should be doing.
Yes,
listening to everybody on the team. He does a great job, and really there's nothing negative to say about him.
Cool.
I've just had some great experiences with the man.
I'll Venmo you that money later, Mike.
Okay.
You know what? Because guys, to be honest with you and to be serious with you, everything flows through the leader. If you have a good, person that's under, that you're under, and they respect your rights, and and vice versa, they respect your opinion, and it's not always one-sided because, like you said, Mike, some of these teams are just basically one-sided.
It
And
is.
that's not what it's about. It's about chemistry. It's about, taking somebody's opinion and looking at both sides, because you got to look at this as, at every angle, not just one sided. It's good to have a skeptic on the team. A skeptic, man, hell, if I knew where one was, hell, there's a good chance they'd be on my team. So a good skeptic will kind of balance everything about a paranormal team. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Sean, you're doing a good job, brother. Keep up with it, man.
I'm trying. It's hard sometimes.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard, but you know what? If you keep the drama away and you keep doing what you're doing, your team will be fine. You know what I'm saying? No problem. Okay. Hey, let me ask you guys a question. Sean, how does your community feel about you and what your team is about?
Well, fun fact: our community, essentially from where we're from, don't really. I don't want to say they don't know us because we're just more popular in other areas. If that makes sense. I think we tend to get more calls and investigations from outside of Auburn than we do actually in Auburn, which is kind of crazy. We've been, we have a small little local news. Well, I say local, but I think it's like 35,000 people live in Auburn. They have a newspaper. We've been in it a bunch of times. We've been on different radio shows and stuff like that. But I honestly think that we're more well known in other bigger cities, probably outside of Auburn, Oswego, Syracuse, out that way. And it could be just because we've done more stuff out there. Auburn itself has a huge history behind it. And there's not a lot of people that know that. I mean, to be honest with you, I went to school in Auburn, and I don't remember learning about Harriet Tubman, for an example. But yet, she lived here. Her home's here.
Yeah.
She's buried here. She was born here. Her house is still here. It's a museum now. William Seward. I didn't know Seward at all. I grew up, and again, in Auburn, we didn't talk about it. They didn't teach us anything about that. But once I realized who he was and I got more involved with history and stuff like that, then it was cool to learn. But his home's here. Then you start thinking about his ties to Lincoln and all that stuff, and the assassination plot and all that. And he was a big key part of it, or I should say, victim of it. But not just that, but like Fort Hill Cemetery. We have the Auburn Prison, home of the first electric chair. There's a lot of history here, but I almost feel like a lot of these places, like the Seward House, like Harriet Tubman House, are very guarded as far as letting groups in. They don't like that. I don't want to say they don't like it, but I just don't know. I just don't know if they necessarily want that attention. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I know the Seward House, they do like a little ghost walk outside type thing every October to help raise money. But they don't. They never let anybody in. They don't. And I understand. We respect that. But some of these other towns, it's like we have a lot of small villages in small town around where Auburn is, and we get cases from there all the time. So I don't know if it's just people are there a little bit more into it. I don't know, but it's again, there's a lot of history. Yep. So it's I don't know. It's just interesting. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, the one thing that people don't realize is, history says a lot. When you have history, you're bound to have something else that comes along with the history. And people don't understand that. It's like uh-oh. Mike, can you hear me, Mike? Check 1 2. Mike?
We can see you.
I can see you, Mike, but I can't hear you. Mike, you there? Oh, Mike, you back? Oh. Do Mike have any haunted objects in his house?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We got you.
Mike, what's going on, man?
Can you hear us?
Okay, you go.
I think he's gonna come back. He'll be back.
He'll be back.
But yeah, I think, and that's one of the things that we always talk about too when we do a lot of shows and talks. We do a lot of community things. We do a lot of presentations and stuff like that, and we talk a lot. And one of the things we always bring up is it's not just ghosts, it's not just spirits, it's not just the investigating, but it's the learning, it's the understanding of the location we're at. Like some of these places we've been to, I've never would have thought either A, the history was there, or B, never would have thought that we would be able to go in there.
Right.
And I mean, if you look at something from face value, yeah, it's a building, for example. We did a Masonic temple. We went in from the outside. You treat it like any investigation. It's just a building. Mike, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm back. Something happened with the mic. I don't know.
But like once we were able to go in there and they gave us the tour and we talked and all that stuff, and then they started telling us about the history and what they do. Like I didn't know any of that. It was just really cool to learn. For example, I mean that's just an example of a location. But just to be able to say, hey, I never would have known that. I never would have learned that if I didn't do this. So that is really cool to be able to do that.
Right. Okay. Now, since your town is so small, what do you say, 35,000 maybe?
Roughly, Auburn, roughly, yeah.
Okay. Now you guys, shouldn't have any problems with the local historical society. You guys should have them in your back pocket, do you?
You'd be surprised. We've reached out to a bunch. We don't have. I mean, there's one in Auburn at the library, but a lot of these villages all have like their own independent person. So we kind of tread water a little bit, and we're we don't want to kind of jump right into it and say, hey, do you know any place that's haunted? But once we start talking to them and we start getting ideas of okay, this location or this location, they don't really have a whole lot. We will reach out to them if we do a location and we're looking for history on it, especially if we hear some, I don't want to say crazy stories, but we had a good case years ago of actually it was a business, and it used to be a home that we were told of a general that fought in a bunch of wars and stuff, and he was buried at the Fort Hill Cemetery, which is right up the road. So we were actually able to go to the historian at the library, get the info on the house, and it had, oh yeah, no, it really was. He really did live there. So it was cool to be able to find that out, that it's not just a story. So there's a lot of legwork, I should say, is involved, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, interesting.
But sometimes it's kind of hard. Like I said, once we start talking, I've noticed about the whole paranormal thing, sometimes people kind of clam up and they just don't want to do it.
And we're going to come back to that, Sean, because there's reasons why people clam up to that. And I want to hear what's your opinion. Matter of fact, I want to hear what all y'all opinions think about that. But, one thing about historical society and the individuals that run them, it's really based on the individual. If an individual is a little bit more open to it, I really can see, them letting, people in to investigate certain locations, because you really have to think about it. This place has been here 200 years and there's been a lot of death and dismemberments and all that weird stuff going on. So it has to be something there, and to me, I think it's all based on the individual who's running the show, like you said, Sean. But one of the reasons why I think paranormal investigators get a bad rep, or people don't want to deal with us, is because the way Hollywood portrays us, the way Hollywood, and so on and so on. I think they really
Oh.
put a bad rep on us. What do you guys think, Olivia? What do you think about that?
I think when it comes to stuff like that, I mean, everybody is looking for a thrill. That's where the money is. So I feel as if, especially when it comes to Hollywood type stuff, they're going to do what they need to do to get their money out of it. So that's just at the end of the day how it is.
Well, I would say, unfortunately, and again, it is unfortunate. We've had interactions with, I guess I could say both sides of it. A few years, for example, a few years ago, I don't even know if the show's even on anymore. But there used to be a show on Destination America called Paranormal Survivor. It might still be on, but if you were into those shows, it was your typical, camera in your face asking you a bunch of questions, and then they have actors portraying you in a remake, if you will.
Right.
And we were asked to be on it. We were contacted. Our team was contacted because of a location that we did, and I was able to bring them from, I think, Toronto. I think is where they filmed from. And I sat down and they asked me all these questions, and it was fun. It was a great experience. The best part was as they're having this camera in your face and asking you 1,000 questions, or it feels like you're there forever. This is a sidetrack, but you'd get a kick out of this, I think. I'm watching the guy behind the lady asking me the questions, the guy holding the big mic. And he's got the earphones on, and I'm telling a story about how the general, when he's around, you can hear him whistle, but then you would also hear what sounds like dog tags, like his dog's running around. And as I say this and I'm telling this story, I look up and I see the guy holding the thing, and all of a sudden he does one of these, and he's looking to the back of the basement where we always used to capture voices of the general back there. And then I heard it. I heard the jingle. If you've been in an area long enough, you know the sounds, you know what to expect, and you know what dog tags sound like. And it was just funny for that to happen because I looked at the guy and I was like, "You just heard that, didn't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I did." But of course, they didn't make the show. But as much fun as filming the show was, because it was cool, get the whole Hollywood aspect of it. When the actual show came out, it was completely and utterly just ridiculous what they did. And that was my first taste of, okay, I see how these shows work now. So they'll basically they took 8 or 9 of my stories or my claims of experiences that we had there, and they wrote their own basic script to it. So they weren't necessarily lying. They were taking the stories and they were interpreting them the way that they wanted to make it more scary, if you will, or more attention grabbing, so more people will like it. So after that, I was like, okay, I get how this is. On the other hand, Mike can probably tell you more about it, but we've investigated locations that some of these mainstream TV shows have done, and almost every time there's one popular show out there, and almost every time that we investigate a place that they've been to and we ask them all these questions, hey, how did Mr. Bagans get this, or how did he get this, or how'd this happen? And almost every time they tell us that that's not what really happened. That wasn't real. So it's like, oh, shocker. So it's
right.
True.
It's sad. It is. It really is. Don't get me wrong. If you're going to watch a show that, in my opinion, that's a real show, that is fact, watch I believe it's the longest running one. Watch Ghost Hunters. I mean, those guys have been consistent since day one. Since I don't even know when the show started, 15 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, probably about 20.
Yeah, I mean they've never changed. It's always been the same mission. It's been the same everything. I like it. I like that, and not to mention we got to meet him. Mike's met him a few times. I got to meet him once, so that was cool. But it's just this in general TV shows. Would I love to be on a show? Absolutely. I'd love to be able to do this for a living. what it would have, I would almost want to do like what Jason did with Ghost Hunters, and I would feel like that. Me personally, I can't speak for everybody, but that I've invested so much time and effort for so long into this that I wouldn't want to, for any money, give it away and have somebody come in and be like, oh, this is how we're going to do it. We need you to act this way. We didn't like the way that you responded to that knock. We want you to redo it. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not
Right.
it. That's not, that can't do that. So I would have to have like almost complete control in order to even agree to be do any show.
Yeah, I think any situation that I totally agree with you with that, man, because I wouldn't want nobody to twist my stuff up. You know what I'm saying? That takes the hard work. It takes the hard work away from it. Man, you're like, what the hell did I do it for? If you just gonna go and twist it all up anyway.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, hey guys, tonight we are streaming live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Kick, Rumble, and
OnlyFans.
There's so many out there, man. Hey, I appreciate all you guys that are out there watching the show. Whoa, I really appreciate that you're actually coming on and checking me out and checking this team out. So thank you guys. If you guys got any questions, please make sure you leave them in the comments. Come on, man. Let's get these comments out. Let's get these numbers up, man. You know, but Olivia, you look like you're bored, man.
That's her normal face. That's normal.
I always look bored. And it's not that I'm bored. It's just everyone else on the team always has so much more to say than I do because they've been doing this forever. And I feel like a baby.
Okay.
Well, you know, I'll say this. You know, if you ever go on our Facebook page, we do have probably a 15-second clip of this. Olivia did film, and it might have been her first official, I guess you should say, experience with the group. She might have had an experience, you know, at another time. But with us, we were at Rolling Hills Asylum, and a door opened by itself. And not only did it open by itself, but it did, and then she went right into investigator mode. And I believe at the time you weren't even really on the team yet. It was, hey, you know, we're gonna go do this asylum. Do you want to go?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You know what I mean? And it worked out.
My test run.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And I'm thinking to myself, "Well, Jesus, you know, it's her. She's never done this before. She's into it. But it's one thing to say you're into it, and it's another thing to actually do it. And normally, when we bring new people in, we'll take them to a place that we've been to, that we're familiar with. We know the spirits almost by name because some of these places we've been to so many times. We almost use it like a training ground. But for her, it was, hey, we're going to take you to an asylum, you know, where a lot of people died, where there's like an 8-foot shadow man that wanders the halls. There's a guy called the Crawler who will literally crawl in the ceiling. You name it, it's there for the most part. But for her to be like, yeah, sure, I'll go, no problem. All right, cool. And then for them to go, I believe, if I remember correctly, Olivia, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys had a handheld camera, but it died. And so they weren't able to get the door on video the first time. So again, props to Olivia. She goes right into investigator mode and says, oh, let me get my phone out. And not only that, but she has them close it again, make sure it's closed, verify it's closed, and then you ask, hey, can you open that door again? And then it opens. So it was really cool for her to show that, hey, I could do this, and I'm not afraid of anything. And even though it is kind of eerie and kind of spooky or whatever, you stay level-headed, and she did a good job. And it was kind of like that experience, as funny as it was when you watch the video. It was one of those things where you're like, hey, I think this is going to work out pretty well. So, But yes, I always joke about people when we tell them, hey, you know, you're going to have your first oh shit moment. And it's funny if we can capture it. So always have a camera on. So that was kind of great.
Olivia, how do you feel about that, them throwing you into the fire like that?
I expected nothing less. As soon as it was brought up to me, I before we left, I got thinking to myself, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to an asylum. I've never been to anything like this. This is going to be absolutely crazy for me. I am, truthfully, if I'm at home, terrified of the dark. As soon as I got there, it was nothing but dark. And I was like, wow, okay, so this is what I'm doing. This is where I want to be. And I knew that if I wanted to have a good experience with that, if I wanted anything to come out of that, be a part of the group, have any shot at that, I needed to get myself together and do what I do best. And I think that, truthfully, that was my moment to prove myself. And I think I did a pretty good job.
Well, you did a good job. Now, let me ask you a question. Why do you think people are afraid of the dark instead of what's in the dark? I could never understand that.
Well, for me, I guess it really, at the end of the day, is what is in the dark. But it's not so much that I'm scared that, like, something's in there. It's just, like, I can't see. I don't like not being able to see. I need to know what I'm doing, where I'm going. I think, really, I'm more worried that, like, I'm going to stub my toe and then I'm going to be upset for the next 20 minutes. But other than that, I mean, I guess I'm not scared of anything paranormal. I am scared of anything living. So, like, if there's a chance that, like, an actual person is behind a door and I'm, like, walking into a pitch black room, then I'm terrified. But other than that, I guess there's really not too much more that scares me about it. I would just prefer to have a light on me.
Well, Terry, I can tell you one thing. I don't know if you've ever done this. I don't care where you say you've ever been that's dark. You've never been in dark until you actually investigate a submarine.
Oh, I can imagine that.
We did. We investigated it. If you ever get bored, Google Buffalo Naval Yard in Buffalo, New York. They have 3 ships there, and one of them happened to be a submarine. And Mike and I, actually, I don't know. I'm not sure if Mike was in there at the time.
No.
He heard it on recorder. So again, you got to picture a submarine. Obviously, you can't let water in. So if water ain't getting in, air's not getting in, which means no ambient light, no outside light, and I'll never forget when we get down in there and we shut the lights off for the first time, and I literally put my hand in front of my face. You there's nothing. I mean,
you can't even see your hand in front of your face.
It's so black that your eyes can't even adjust to it. And the worst part is if you have if you're familiar with subs at all, they have very small doors. And while we were investigating, we were all the way down at the end, and I left my flashlight down there, and I went to go back to get it, and of course we have our recorders going, and one of the guys with me, I think it was Kevin, was with me at the time, and he asked me, "Hey, do you want my flashlight?" And I said, "Oh no, I'm gonna be fine. Couldn't see nothing, but I'll be fine." And about 2 seconds later on the recorder, you hear a big loud metal bang, and it's actually me cracking my head off the doorway as I was trying to go through the door. So if you can walk around in that, I mean, you're fine. Dark doesn't mean nothing.
Wow. Speaking of locations and places you guys like to investigate, where did Sean and Mike, where did you guys, when you guys were together, where was the very first place you guys investigated together?
Oh, God. I don't even want to talk about that one. I think Sean knows the one I'm talking about.
Is it the
Hannibal House?
Yeah, I was gonna say Granby, but yeah, it was a Hannibal House.
That
was arguably the longest investigation we ever did. We normally try to do like 4 to 5 hours, give or take. That night we got there, I think we set up. It was summertime. We set up around probably 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night. Whole house, backyard, everything, and then we were there. We were literally there till sunup the next morning.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And I can tell you, we caught an absolute total number of nothing.
Nothing.
this is a huge thing, and maybe you guys do this. You got to do your homework, not only on locations and fun stuff that you're doing, but also, if you can, do your homework on private homes as well.
Right.
Had we have known that this guy who contacted our group, and truth be told, I was not in charge of the group at the time. Mike and I were just investigators. But the guy that contacted our group also contacted probably like 20 other teams in the area.
TV shows.
And TV shows. He wanted there to be something at his house. That's it. He just wanted it. So we get there, and right off the gate, as soon as you walk in the door, on almost every door jamb of the house, he duct taped, not even nicely put up, duct taped, crudely, by the way, web cameras.
Oh, wow.
And because he wanted to try to capture something. And he goes, hey guys, you want to come over and look at all my evidence? And I kid you not, he had stacks of CDs with probably hours on it. No, we did not go through any of them. So we, and honestly, we still treated it in the beginning as what it was. It was an investigation. We got to treat it for what it is. So we did set up equipment. We ran for a while that night. And then he calls me up and he goes, hey, I want to show you this picture. I caught a ghost girl in the hallway.
In a doorway.
In a doorway, yeah. And I looked at it and I said,
Sean thought it was impressive. But then I looked at it a little more closely, and I can see a little white line going around the girl. And I had to pull Sean aside and say, hey, come outside for a minute. And I said, did you see that white line around the girl? He goes, no. I go, take a look when you go back in. That photo was photoshopped.
Oh, wow.
And actually, listen, and I don't know if you saw the comment that Irene just made. It's once I took over the group, we do that now. We will go to a location and we'll actually do a sit down meeting, either myself and Mike or myself and Olivia or Amy, who's couldn't be with us tonight. Somebody goes and we'll do a tour of the location. We ask questions and we try to get to know them a little bit better prior to us just showing up with all of our gear. But it also depends on how far away they are too. So lesson learned. A lot of stuff changed once I took over.
Yep. For the best.
Olivia, let me ask you a question. Can you give me a percentage on what you think that paranormal, like in some cases, paranormal can be more mental than actual paranormal? What would your numbers be on cases like that you guys are, that you might think that it might be? I can't say that because you just started with the team, so I can't throw you like that.
That's tough because I feel like that heavily differs between if it is private home or if it is a public place. If it is a private home, I feel like sometimes it could be a little more mental than anything because, you hear a creak in the dark and then that's where your mind goes. Not everybody, but it's the case most times, I feel. Public locations, I am more likely to, I don't want to say be in favor because I never assume. I would rather experience something for myself. But I feel like with public places, it is a higher chance that it's more likely to have activity based on the history.
Okay, but this is so funny, man. Have you guys read that? Oh man. I just had to laugh at that
and
one.
that's the thing right there. that's something that you would hear more often with like a private home where somebody's like got it in their head that there's something there, and then it just plays on them for so long, and they're like, oh my god, no, this is a demon.
The guy that we were just talking about, when literally at 5 o'clock in the morning when we were packing up, he had one of our guys down in the basement screaming and banging on the air ducts, screaming for the demon to come out.
Oh my, that was. I never laughed so hard at that one.
No, I don't think you were. Mike went from laughing to pissed, like within a second. It went from oh my god, ha ha ha, to like let's get our shit and get out of here. It was very quick. That was
I think it was at 2:30 in the morning. I think it was at 2:30 in the morning when when you looked at me and said, "What do you think, Mike?" And I said, "We need to get the F out of here." Yeah,
it was. You're gonna run into that, and that's a big thing. And we pride ourselves on, we don't charge for anything that we do. It's a huge thing that we do. I know some groups that do. I know some that don't. And I just, me personally, said I would never take a dime for an investigation for anything we do. And I kid you not when I say we do that, because it takes, in my opinion, it takes away your credibility if you do charge. You said yourself, a lot of these cases are mental. So if I go to your house and you're telling me, hey, I know there's a ghost here, how hard is it going to be for me to say, pay me money and I'll prove you it's haunted? They already know it. They already, in their mind, they already know it. So we look at it like, I'm not taking anything from you. I have nothing to lose from you. So we have no reason to lie to you. And Mike can attest, we've been told to leave people's houses when we've come back and we sat down after an investigation and we showed them what we didn't get. And when they ask, well, what about this? Well, what about that? And we explain, try this, try moving your kid's head from where his bed is, because right now where his bed is, there's a huge EMF field right there. Just try moving their bed across the room when there is none. See what happens. See if he stops seeing shadows. See if he stops feeling like he's being watched. We've had people get mad at us and literally will tell us to leave because they're just so convinced that it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We understand that. But we're not out there to lie. We're not out there to prove. We're out there to document, to help you, maybe help the spirits, and just say, hey, this is out there, and what if,
Yeah. And
exactly.
And to be serious, guys, for a minute, because I've had a couple cases where it was more mental than physical. So, but when I deal with a case like that, man, you really have to, you really got to give a little bit more effort. And, because at that point, you really need to help an individual. You know what I'm saying? But when you dealing with somebody who has a mental state and thinking, everything is paranormal that's going on in their house, you really got to look at some of the medication that these people are taking. One, if they're off their meds. Two, if the meds that they have has some kind of, something that makes you see things a little, and you really gotta, take an extra step when you deal with people like that, because at that point you really want to help them out. You really want to help them out, and you want to make sure that you actually, seeing this thing through with them. Because it would get under my skin if I knew that this I go to a client's house and we know it's mental, but yet we don't do anything about it to help them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it would, and come to find out, dude, you look on the news and you see the same person you talk to, something tragic happened to them. It would really drive me freaking crazy if I knew I had the opportunity to help an individual like that. So when I ask for certain numbers, and to be honest with you, Olivia, I can honestly say when it comes to paranormal, I would have to go 80-20. 80% mental, 20% paranormal. Because, like I say, you really don't know what we're putting in our bodies when it comes to these medications that these doctors are giving us. You know what I'm saying? It's like cough medicine, dude. There's more alcohol in the cough medicine than a bottle of damn Jack Daniels these days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you really, and it's really crazy. But like I say,
Yeah.
I've ran a couple of cases like that where you just gotta throw that K2 meter down and throw that ghost ball down and look at the big picture of the whole situation.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things. Stay. It's just one of those things that a lot of people don't deal with mental issues when it comes to the paranormal, but those that do, man, you really gotta take that extra step and really help these people out.
Yeah.
Even though it's not paranormal, but one day you could save a life. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
let's see. Question here. After investigation with me, we need to swing of booze. Eh. All right, let's see this one here. Hey, don't take meds. Hey, who's the tech guy on your team? Who's the one that runs, that gets everything ready for the show?
Well,
I
I mean,
do.
yeah, Mike handles basically all the evidence. We all try to help out as much as we can as far as setting up goes. We
Mhm.
we used to, and this is back years ago when we had way too many people in the group. I used to kind of push it, everybody help do this, everybody help do that. Well, I realized that sometimes too many hands is a bad thing.
It
Yeah.
is.
And we've actually had some cases where accidentally, but people were trying to help and equipment has been broken or equipment's been grabbed. You trip over a cord and something's been yanked off a table or something. So generally, when we do any investigation, Mike takes care of the DVR system and that, because I just don't want anybody else to be around just to prevent any kind of accidents happening.
Right.
It's just easy. Let one person deal with it. That way, if it's not working, it's one person that knows what has to be done. Not that I don't know how to do it. It's just easier. For me to go in there and he's already doing it. You know what? Just let him do it. So while he's doing that, we all kind of fan out. We all we'll grab cables, run cameras, work on camera angles, do whatever we need to do. Once Mike gets them plugged in, call him on the radio. Hey, how's camera 1 look? How's camera 2 look? What do we need to do? Type thing.
Yep.
After that, everybody's pretty much responsible for going over their own evidence. If you bring 3 recorders, you got to review 3 recorders. If you didn't bring any recorders, well, guess what? We're going to give you some of ours. It's just easier that way.
Yeah.
We all pull our own weight. But the nice thing is, once we get it all done, and I have all my notes and I have all what I think is evidence, Olivia does the same thing. Amy does the same thing. We all then give it to Mike. Mike then takes it, puts it into our hard drive, creates the list, creates the reports, does all that stuff for the client. But then he also keeps a backup copy. So every investigation we've ever done, Mike has it all backed up, all the evidence. And that's one of the nice things that we offer our client when we give them. It used to be a CD. Now it's USB drives because nobody has CDs anymore. We give them to the client and we say, listen, we have this saved. We have it backed up. So in 5 years from now, if you accidentally break this or lose it, call me, shoot me a text, whatever. We'll get you another one. We'll just mail it to you. It's no problem. Right. We got it. So we always have it. But the nice thing too is the report that we do. And I gotta give Mike credit for doing the reports. It gets very detailed. So he'll put in there who's there, what time we arrived, what's the weather like, how long did it take us to get set up, what are some of the claims, what are some of the stories, and then it gets into history. A little bit about the history of the location. Was there a guest investigator? Was the homeowner there? Type stuff. And it's all like literally you read it like an essay, but it's something that we give them. with a copy of all the EVPs that we caught or video. So it's nice to Mike not only takes care of a lot of the equipment, but he takes care of that part too.
Mr. Doyle, man, it seems like you're the backbone of this whole operation.
Well, he's retired. He was retired, so.
You know what, man? If it wasn't for people like you, Mike, man, I don't know where paranormal teams would be. You know what?
True.
Because somebody got to do the dirty work.
Yeah.
You
I
know
mean,
what I'm saying?
plus, Sean mentioned it about, the recorders and everything. We also have 2 handheld recorder, video recorders too. And they need to be done too. And like Sean said, if somebody doesn't have something, well, guess what? You're taking a video camera home to review it too.
There you go. Man, I totally agree with you on that.
Because, Terry, if I have my recorder going somewhere stationary and everything, I got to review that. Then when I get home, then I got to review the DVR system. Then if I have time, I'm going to do a camera and somebody else will have a camera. But if everybody's reviewing their own stuff, yeah, I get pretty condensed and busy because then I'm doing 2 video cameras.
Exactly.
And really, that and not that, and maybe we'll talk about it later too. But to me, that shows you how much how important it is to people, and for Mike to be willing to do all that, for Amy to I know she's not here tonight, but she'll take a handheld camera without asking. She'll step up and review a lot of stuff. Olivia reviews her stuff.
Yep.
But not only has Olivia, she also does that with reviewing, but she's also pretty much taking control and does all of the background stuff for our Facebook Lives that we do, that we just started doing again. Without her doing that behind the scenes stuff, I wouldn't have a clue on what we're doing. I mean, I don't know any of that stuff. I might not look it, but I'm a lot older than Olivia. I look kind of young. But I didn't learn any of that fancy stuff when I was in school. So, but again, it shows you, the benefits of having like a small group that we do. It's for people that are very passionate about what we do. Again, we don't do it to make money. If anything, we lose money. Every day that we do it, we don't get, we're losing more, whether it's gas or batteries or whatever, but we're willing to put the time and effort into it. And it's because it's serious. We mean it. It's not, I know that's the first thing I say when I meet a new client is, did you do your research on us? There's a reason why we're the only group that's been around for 15 years from Auburn. Every other pop-up group has been gone within a year. There's reasons for that. There's a reason why we have a business. It's a reason why in New York State we have to file taxes and I have to have an accountant and go through all that hassle. Yep. Because we really care. It's not that, it's not just a hobby. I tell people it's an unpaid full-time job.
There you go. And
it really is.
And I don't even want to talk about that LLC you got. I don't even want to talk how much that costs you guys.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you want to get one, find yourself a new client that's a lawyer.
Yep.
So we got asked to investigate a lawyer's office in our town. So we went and we did it. We investigated it. And it was a great place. Very old historic house that was converted into an office. And I think it even had an apartment on the 3rd floor that nobody lived in. But
yep,
we went back and we did the reveal. We sat down with him. We went over all the stuff we caught. We talked in depth with it, him and his wife. And I think she was a paralegal, and he's the attorney.
Yes.
And he asked me, he's like, well, why don't you guys have an LLC? And I'll be honest with you, we never thought about it. We just never, 10 years at that point, never crossed our mind. And he explained the benefits and the legal aspects of it and why we should have it. Wow, that would be great to have. Maybe we should think about it. And he goes, I'll tell you what, for you doing the investigation, I'll do it for free. You just got to pay the filing fee.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. What's the filing fee? Like $20?
It might have been like 100, maybe, if that, for the court fee.
Okay.
But he did, an inch and a half of paperwork and whatever else. I'm sure, it costs money. I mean, I'm not 100%. But the nice thing about it too is we actually kind of kept him on retainer too. So we actually have our own attorney for the group if we ever need it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Now,
And he's a friend. He's a friend. He's a client. He hooked us up. We hooked him up. It was a mutual agreement.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. You can't beat
Olivia.
Wake up.
I am, I swear.
I've seen you
We're
sleeping.
talking like big words and I'm just zoned.
All right, Olivia, let me ask you a question. What does your family think about you being a paranormal investigator? More so your grandparents. Because those are the ones that are a little bit more cautious about the paranormal compared to your parents.
Oh boy.
Well, she would.
Come on, Olivia. Come on.
She does this because I married into her family.
What?
Yeah. I was gonna say. So I've got.
You hold on, man. You didn't tell me that.
So yeah, I married Olivia's cousin. So I pretty much brought it. I'm sure it didn't take long. We probably weren't even married yet. We were probably just dating until all these rumors started going around. I'm sure that Alicia's dating a ghost hunter. I'm sure that didn't take long to get out.
Oh my God!
And then it just kind of got bigger and bigger, I guess, as the longer it went on.
Sean, you branded the whole family. God damn.
Yeah, I mean, as far as my family goes, I feel like.
Which is Sean.
Yeah, right. Well, and on that side of the family, I feel like it's not that they don't believe, it's just not really too much of a topic. It's not something that I really grew up talking about with them, and truthfully, the only time that I really talk about it is with Sean in the group. The other side of my family, it's hit or miss, I feel like, with all of them. It's
honestly, I think your grandmother is fun to talk to about it. Like she seems like she's okay with it. I mean, but then again, she's fun talking about all kinds of stuff. So
and that's the thing is it's not that they don't believe, I don't think, and even if they don't believe, they will sit there and they'll listen if we talk about it. It's not something that they're against. So, right. I mean, for me, that's a really big thing. If you're not against it, if you're willing to be open, then I am happy on all ends.
Okay. What about you, Mike? You married, got kids? What do they think?
Yeah, I'm married. My wife, Wendy.
You married?
I've been married about going out 11 years this year. She had a son before I married her, so he lives in Denver now.
Good man. Good man.
And everything. She knows I love doing this, but as for watching a TV show or something, that's not her style. She will not watch a TV show.
So you count out her going on an investigation, huh?
Before, because we always do an event down in at a place called the Braylock Inn in Casanova, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And we usually, what is it, Sean? Like 3 weekends.
It's going. Yeah, I mean, one year we did almost every weekend.
Yeah.
Every Sunday. Someday this past year we did just all the Sundays. It kind of changes, but it's always in October and it's always the weekends.
So I keep asking her every year when we do our events. I go, "Come on, honey, you want to go with me? You get a free dinner and everything, and you get to hear all of our stuff." She goes, "No, I don't want to do it," and that's it. I can't force her, but
no, I often tell Mike all the time, and I've said it before about my wife. They knew what they were getting into prior to getting married, so that's on them. I always say my wife tolerates it, but at the same time, like, I got to be honest. If I'm listening to something and I think I hear it, I can go to her and I can say, "Hey, can you listen to this? Tell me what you think," and she will. She won't. Yep, she'll listen to it and she'll give me her honest opinion. She knows Mike's voice. She knows Olivia's voice. She knows Amy's voice. So it's easy for her to say if it's one of us. And it's also cool too because she's going to give an honest opinion. She's not going to give any kind of one way or the other. So it's nice that.
Olivia, wake up.
But
Yeah.
Olivia actually hasn't been able. We haven't done it really in probably a couple years. But one of the big things that I always like to do, and we did it years past, is every summer we try to come up with a way to say thank you to our families, our wives, our boyfriends, our husbands, whatever, for putting up with us and for putting up with and putting up not with us, but also like the long nights, the weekends that we're away, the time that we need to review the evidence. It can be, your wife or your husband, your boyfriends, whatever, that can cause issues. It really can. Again, sometimes people just don't realize how much effort goes into it after the investigation.
Right.
So for a long time, I had a nice little house out in the country. Every summer I had a big party. I had everybody come over. We'd have a bonfire. We'd probably drink way too much. And it was just a way to say thank you to everybody. We'd have the families there. 2 years ago, we ended up, we did a fun family trip to Gettysburg where everybody got to bring their wife or their husband or whatever. And we went down there. We actually investigated when we were there. They all stayed at the hotel. So it was a trip for a reason, but it was also a way to say thank you. So we're still looking at this summer. We'll probably do something, again, to say thank you to everybody. Even if it's just, hey, let's all get together at my house. We'll throw some food on the grill and just hang out and say, hey, thanks. It's not just a team. It's a family. Like I said, Mike and I have been together for so many years that it's just kind of like normal. It's not just that.
Olivia. Now I know I've been on this planet a long time, and I know when someone called me by my full name, like they did you in this comment, gotta be a parent.
That is my grandma.
See, how did I not know that?
That would be my grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
Yes, she did. She did get me hooked on watching. There was one. I want to say, gosh, no, I can't even think of it. I think she said Ghost Adventures. I know we had watched something else though, and but it was more. It's more about the history, not so much of catching things. But I did enjoy going to grandma's and staying up past my bedtime to watch ghost shows. So
see now that's why I said it had to either you were in trouble or either it was an elder.
Yep.
Because there's nobody besides an elder or you're in trouble that's going to call you by your whole name. And I'm surprised they didn't put a middle name in there.
Oh, I'm really glad that she didn't.
Hello, Grandma. Glad to meet you too. Let me throw that in there. All right. You know what, guys? One thing we don't talk about that we haven't talked about is some of the locations you guys have been to. What kind of paranormal team are you guys? Are you guys a residential? Man, I love cemeteries. I love cemeteries and abandoned. Some people might even call me an urban explorer because that's what I like to do. What exactly are you guys?
I want to say, and Mike, maybe you would know too. I think we're probably one of the last, or one of the few, only groups that still do private homes in the central New York area.
Yeah, I know. Central New York ghost hunters don't do homes anymore. They just do historic locations like fundraisers and stuff like that. But sorry. But Sean just said it. We're one of the few remaining teams that will go out to private residents and investigate.
And I mean, other than that, we've done, you name it, museums, libraries.
We did a lighthouse.
Yeah, we did a lighthouse, which was great. So you had to climb up it 2 or 3 times. Old jails. One of the fun stuff that, and I like to say, I always tell people is, again, we kind of talked up a little bit about it earlier, is being able to go to places that you normally don't get to go to. like like public, for example. Like when we did the Buffalo Naval Yard, and you get to go inside these giant ships, and yeah, you could do the day tours, and I recommend anybody doing those that go. They're great, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you're into that stuff. But to be able to go behind the scenes, to be able to go in the bowels of the ships where you normally don't get to go.
Yeah, the tour doesn't take you.
Yeah, and then you get to learn more about the history and the battles, and to put yourself in that situation to be able to sit in that same seat where, you know, something happened where this person was killed. You know, it's just kind of puts you there and gets you ready for that investigation. So we love doing historical locations. We love doing museums. We've even done restaurants, diners.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, we don't do cemeteries often, hardly ever, for a couple reasons. It's normally always cold up here. So
yeah.
a lot of outside noise as far as wind and stuff like that goes. And to be honest, that's probably the one good thing that a lot of law enforcement around here do is they do patrol a lot of the cemeteries fairly regularly. And they're all closed at night, and we just don't want any issues. You know, you go out there, I could be, you know, go out there and like, oh, what are you doing here? And the next thing I know, it's not going to say Sean DeBello, you know, arrested for being in cemetery at night. It's going to say Sean DeBello, ghost hunter, and, you know, arrested in cemetery. And the last thing I want is any negative thing put on the team. Yeah, I don't want nothing negative put on us. I don't want nothing negative put on the whole field in general.
Right.
You know,
Now, who do you call if you know, when you do a residential on something you can't handle? Is there anybody that you can call that you know?
Yeah, about 3-4 years ago, she went and did her own thing. So and I always say it works out for the best. Normally, I have an open door. As long as you don't screw me or screw my team over, you're always welcome back. You know, that's the biggest thing. Don't burn too many bridges. And I think after that, like Mike mentioned earlier, Central New York Ghost Hunters, we're good friends with them. We've worked with them several times. They've worked with us, and they do have people available if we need them. So we do have that avenue that we can always call upon. But also, I recently just kind of got hooked up with a new possible psychic medium who's going to be working with our team in the near future. So again, it might be an avenue for us to have her on the group as well. Again, to use as a tool in the event that we need to do that. But I also want to put out there too, you know, almost every single case we've ever been to, we've never had to get rid of anything. Maybe we're just really good and we have a lot of good luck. But we find that most people, even the ones that say, I have something bad here, I have something negative here, you know, we get there, we do our thing, and we present them what we've shown them, and we explain to them, you know, did you get scratched? Sure. Could it have been this child just trying to get your attention and just didn't know any better? Or necessarily instead of a demon that rose from the depths? You know what I mean? Like, I think once we explain to them, and we, you know, this is what we caught, this is what we think, this is what we feel, most people are okay with it, and they don't really necessarily want it gone.
Yeah.
It's just, they're just looking for that help. They're looking for that understanding. I often tell people it's easy to be afraid of what you don't understand. So once you understand it, they just don't really want it to go. I mean, I can't even remember the last time we've had anybody even tell us that they wanted it gone.
It's like that whole dark thing you scared of. I'm not afraid of the dark. Wow, you know what?
I think my brother used to terrorize me when I was a kid, and I used to have to run down the hallway to use the bathroom. He always used to tell me somebody was going to reach through the banisters and grab my legs. So I think that's where sometimes I'll be like, okay, it's cool, there's nothing there, but I got to give it a second look anyway.
Well, you know, okay, let me ask you, Olivia. Let me ask you a question. Do you think deja vu is paranormal, or do you think it's just your mind playing tricks on you?
I think deja vu can be spiritual. I feel like that all depends on how you look at it as a person and your own opinion. For me personally, I would say I think that it's more, I don't necessarily want to word it as paranormal, but spiritual. I think that sometimes there could be messages with that, but I feel like they're more personal than something, for example, like something paranormal. It's not necessarily reaching out to you, but maybe just trying to kind of guide you.
Okay. So that black cat you thought you saw was did I just see that black cat? What do you think that black cat is trying to say to you? If you had to do a double take on it.
I guess that depends. Sometimes it takes more thought. I mean, like it really just depends.
Okay. Well, let me ask you another question. Superstition. Do you think superstition is paranormal?
I can see the smoke coming out of it. I can.
Honestly,
because
I
nowadays,
don't.
because nowadays everything is so superstitious.
Well,
and you know what? And I can't blame. And you know what? And it goes back to our grandparents and our great. And this is the only thing that's actually I can actually say that have came a long way. It's because superstitious. Is it superstitious to do this? If you sweep your feet, you go to jail. If you do this, you do that. Superstitious is everywhere. Like black cats, for instance.
I think that some I don't know if you would consider this a superstition, but I remember when Mike and I, Olivia wasn't with us yet, but when we did the Masonic Temple that we did, one of the things that I forgot his name, so his actual title. There was
my friend John?
Yeah, the one that gave us the tour.
Yeah, John.
His title, whatever his title is, Master.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mason. They have titles. But he told us that before you go into the chamber, the ceremonial chamber, you have to knock on the door. I believe it's 3 times.
Yep.
And if you don't, it's like disrespectful. It's like, so for some reason, every time we went up to that door, we knocked, bang, bang, bang. Just out of respect, I guess, but also because it is. If you want to call it a superstition, that's fine. But I will say we got some pretty cool stuff there.
Yeah.
Who's to say that if we didn't do that, we might have made something angry and either got nothing, or maybe we would have gotten something a lot worse. I don't know.
Right.
But it's I think there's always a fine line too. I think sometimes people they might look a little too hard at certain things, or look into things too much just to kind of get an answer that they're looking for.
Okay, cool, good answer. Yeah. Now, Sean, we're gonna go that fine line. That fine line me and you talked about before the show started.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna go there for a moment. Just for a moment. How many of you guys are Catholic? Okay, we got.
I'm not practicing, but.
Okay, now the question that I have for you and Mike is, why do the Catholic Church denounce paranormal and paranormal investigators, but 100, maybe 200 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, we were the backbones of their whole entire operation?
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't. I've only had like one conversation with a priest, if you will, and that was when we had a case that they told us there was something negative there, and so we kind of took that extra precaution, and I did go speak with him, and honestly, he was very cool about it, but all he could really recommend was we just recommend that you don't do that, just don't go. And I was like, well, then you don't understand what we do. That's not the point.
Yeah.
That's we're there to help, just like you are here for them to come to your church, and I didn't say this, but again, I'm not going to be mean to a priest. But I kind of felt like for them to come to your church and talk to you about their problems and a possible something at their home is no different than me going to their house and them telling me the same thing, but me trying to document it and prove it. If anything, I'm not to be mean, but I feel like I'm doing more. I'm trying to do what we can to solve the problem. Honestly, I think a lot of it is the stigma that Hollywood and everything is put on it. Well, you can't really watch a quote unquote scary horror movie anymore without having a priest in it, without having some kind of glorified exorcism done, without the theatrics of a movie. And it's just, I don't think that really helped out too much. I mean, again, we try to stay out of we stay out of religion just like we stay out of politics. It just doesn't. Yeah. It never works out well in any way.
Mike, what do you think about the Catholic Church and the way they react towards us, and all that good stuff?
I think Sean summed it up. I mean, I'm growing up. Yes, my mother took me to church every Friday, Saturday night. So I was a church-going Catholic, but after that, I've grown. I'm just not a practicing Catholic anymore, and I don't know what the stigma is about the paranormal field. Maybe, like Sean said, maybe it is those negative TV shows that portray us in the wrong light. And Sean could have brought, I think he's going to agree with me on this. We did a place in Auburn called The Castle, right? We were there 2 times. We even filmed an episode there. And when we presented all of our evidence to the previous owner, we captured no negative stuff there. Now all of a sudden, the new owner and his, what's that girl? Is she like a manager for him?
Yeah, it's like his assistant.
His assistant. She called in because her son found this. What was it in the house, Sean?
A demon box. Basically, it was a box with a name Odin on it.
And she calls in this YouTube team. Now all of a sudden, their episode they called The Castle. They called it The Demon Castle. So like Sean said, where does the line get drawn?
Not to be.
It's hard.
I know we talked about this earlier, Terry. I made this comment, and I'll just make it again because I always love doing it. But yeah. I'm a Catholic. We believe, or I guess if I'm practicing, whatever you want to call it, we believe that not only did Jesus or God die, but he rose from the grave. Yeah. So what do you call something that rises from the grave? A zombie or a ghost or spirit? Not only that, but again, the Father, Son, and the Holy what? It's not like it's not there. It's there. Why we don't talk about it, I don't know. Is it because Catholics believe that and again, Mike might be able to tell me if I'm wrong, but last time I checked, Catholics believed in 3 things when you die. You're going to go to heaven, you're going to go to hell, or you're going to be in purgatory. One of the 3. But to them, purgatory is walking the earth. You're walking the earth until you get enough people to pray for you that you can get your way back get your way into heaven. So what's the difference between believing that a spirit is in purgatory or me believing there's a spirit in my house? It's still here. It's in the same location. Whether you want to change the wording, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But at the end of the day, I think we can all agree that there is evil and there's good. There's always an opposite to another one. So to know that, if you're strong-willed and you do believe that there is something, whether you believe there's again, not to get off topic, but some people don't believe in God at all. So there's something happens. I have been in places where there's been negative. I don't know if I would necessarily say evil, but I would say very, very, very negative. But I've also been in places where it's been very nice and warm, not scary at all. But you know that there's spirits there. It just there's got to be, and there's got to be a good for every bad. So whether we go to heaven, I don't know. You know, we don't know. But I do know that there are things out there that we just can't explain, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully more people will be more accepting of it, I guess.
Yeah, and and that's and for me myself, the reason why I am doing this is I could be, you're right, Sean. I mean, people have their ways on want to figuring things out. And and as for me, I'm those type of guys, Olivia. Like the dark. I want to be prepared and have my mind set for whatever is going to face. I'm going to have to face when that time comes. And I think the reason why am a paranormal investigator, because I think it's actually preparing me to do so. You know what I'm saying? I won't be, because to be honest with you guys, I was petrified. I was hella scared of dying and not knowing on whether this gonna happen, that's gonna happen. Where do you go? Who do you see? Who do you stand in front of when you need to be judged and all that stuff. But as life goes on and I'm continue doing what I'm doing, all that is making things a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid of dying anymore. And whatever judge that comes that needs to come for me, then I'm prepared for that.
Yeah.
And then trust me, when you said purgatory, trust me, there's a lot of spirits that are in purgatory, because these are the same spirits that haunt a certain location, and these are the same spirits that we reach out and try to communicate with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, some spirits might not go because they like a certain residence, or they like where they were when they were alive. Hey, I totally get it. But most of these spirits are in fear of being judged, so they're going to stay in purgatory, like you said, until they think it's time for them to be judged, and then hopefully move on to the next part of life. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I always like to joke around, and I've had a lot of in-depth conversations with people about, more or less, I grew up, I don't want to say I grew up around dying, because that's not the correct term. But I've had a lot of people pass away. But at the same time, I've talked to a lot of people that don't believe. They just believe that when you die, that's it. And it got me thinking. And I'm thinking, well, per se, we all agree that we're energy at the end of the day. We use equipment in this field that basically senses energy. I mean, that's what we believe. We are a matter made up of 1,000 billion cells that we were just lucky enough to get blessed to make it all work together so we could be born and have this thing called life. So what happens if when we die, we don't necessarily die, but we just go to an alternate dimension, if you will, or an alternate quote unquote universe, if you will? Where else does energy go? So maybe when we're investigating a location and I think I hear a voice, or I think I hear a knock, or I think I hear something, maybe it's somebody on that other side doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. And in their side, they're in an empty room and they're hearing me knock and they're wondering what the hell this place is haunted.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We don't know. And
it's that reverse. So what you're thinking, it might be that reverse psychology that they're doing. You doing one thing and they hear it, then and vice versa. Yeah. You know what? I never thought about it like that.
It's just a thought. But if we're all energy, we gotta do something. We gotta go somewhere.
You know what? That is a good one, because I've never thought about it like that before.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna have me thinking for the rest of the night.
But no, I mean it's true. And like you said earlier, I was very close to my mother. She passed away in 2012. She grew up around spirits. She was not gifted in any way. She would always like to say that she was either blessed or cursed, one of the two, because they always seemed to have something going on. But growing up, listening to her stories, listening to her tell me what she went through and everything, even to the point where she was literally on hospice. We didn't know when she was going to go.
Right.
And she was so not afraid of it because she understood what was going to happen. That she literally looked at me and she said, "I thought you had an investigation to do tonight." And I said, "No, I'm not going to go anywhere because, we don't know what's going on." And she was very lucid. She knew what was going to happen and what was going on. And her response was, "No, you have to go so you can come back tomorrow and tell me about it." So she was still that into wanting me to do it because she knew what it meant to me, but it also meant to her too. It wasn't just for me. It was a way for her to say, maybe this was our last thing that we had between us before it was her time to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I went and we had a great time. It was at one of our favorite places, Fort Ontario. And I came back the next day and I was able to tell her all about it before anything happened. So it was kind of cool to be able to experience that with her and have that moment.
Yep.
John, this is for you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, Irene have a tendency to pick up on loved ones that are long gone. She's a very spiritual individual. She's well gifted, and man, some of the things she's done is actually shocked some of the people that I've had on the show. Yeah, she's an amazing. If you guys want to contact with her, I will leave her link to the show because if you guys really, really wants to know something, she's your person. She is your young lady that can help you out, and she can help you out on investigations. But mind you, she is in the great country of Tokyo, Japan. I did not mention that. But she is from Japan. So, hey, all you people over there in Japan, I know it's pretty early over there, but thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate all you guys, spending your Sunday over, because I think it's Sunday afternoon over there, if I'm right. They're like 18 hours ahead of us.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for coming on the show, man.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate you guys. But Irene is a very special individual. So if you guys want to reach out and talk to her, and all that stuff, feel free to do so. Olivia?
She's awake now.
No, she's not. I've just seen her eyes closed.
No, they're not closed. I can tell you when we get done here, they're gonna close.
Well, don't do that.
I'll be right back. I just gotta grab something.
All right.
Yeah.
But Olivia, how long you been with the team? A week? A couple of weeks?
2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years. What is some of your best paranormal devices you like to have on an investigation that you use?
Truthfully, I have one specific favorite, and that would be my voice recorder.
Your voice recorder? Okay, let me ask you another question. Now, if you had any devices in the world, what device is the best device to use on an investigation? Mike, don't you say it, because I'm pretty sure you know, but Olivia, can you please answer that question for me?
I'm going to do it to my best ability, okay?
Okay.
Truthfully, on an investigation, I think that it is more within the person than it is within the equipment.
What'd you say?
I think it's more within the person than it is within the equipment. So I don't think that there is one specific device. I think that if you're going to have anything successful, you need both an open mind and an open heart as well.
You know what? That is a great answer.
Yep.
Because the most important thing you could ever have on an investigation is your senses.
Yep.
That's the most important thing. Because number one, your mind can't go wrong. Whatever you thought you saw, that's what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
hey, good answer.
Yep. That is.
Hey, I didn't think you were gonna get it.
Don't underestimate me.
But that is a great answer. Thank
Yes,
you.
it was.
Thank you for a future. Oh man, you are a future. You know what? I was gonna say a future YouTube paranormal investigator star. Speaking of YouTube, what do you guys think about? These guys are a little bit different from Hollywood. Because half the time these guys don't know what they're catching until they review the evidence. What do you guys think about these YouTube paranormal investigators that are in it just like us, not in it for the money, but yet catch some of the best evidence?
Yeah.
I am very. I think I'm sometimes almost too critical of evidence that I don't get myself.
Yep.
I not that I don't believe anybody. It's just if I wasn't there, it's hard for me to put myself there.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I have seen. Like a great example is the ones that Mike made the comment earlier about the Demon Castle. These are guys that are very popular on YouTube. They're very popular all over the internet. Just not really. I think they've been on a couple of those like haunted TV shows, but nothing
Yeah.
as far as like movie goes. And I've seen what they've done. I've seen how they can take something and ruin it. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just no, I don't get it. I do like some of the videos, but I do find myself sometimes when I watch some of these clips, where they think they heard something or they see a shadow, but instead of going toward it, they run away from it.
Away from it.
Well, I've seen that on Ghost Hunters too. That guy got
Yeah.
grilled for that.
Exactly, and rightfully so. But then I do like the shows, like for example, the ones that come out and they come out and flat out say we're not paranormal investigators. We just like to go into old places. We like to go into abandoned places. I have seen a few of those videos where they're not trying to do any hunting at all, but they still get something that they can't explain. Which those videos to me are a little bit more credible. They're not there. They're not looking for that. So it's kind of like, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, it's not, again, we're on YouTube very little, but when we do post stuff on our YouTube page, it's only like our live shows that we've done. It's not too much evidence because, again, you're going to have a million people that are going to discredit it if they don't believe you. So, so why bother? Again, we just don't. That's why I guess I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air. I'd love to do a YouTube show. I'd love to do a TV show someday, but again, I guess I think I'd be too hard to work with. I think I would be too hard to get along with everybody.
No.
Now, when you guys do your streaming live, do you guys go back and edit everything, or do you guys let it raw and uncut?
Whatever's there is there.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, we don't.
So
and right now we're like I said, we just started doing it. I think about a month ago. Every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, 7 o'clock. We come on live on our Facebook page, and every week it's a different topic. Some weeks we talk about locations we've been to. We share evidence that's never before has been out to the public that they never get to see or hear. Next, I think this week we're doing a place that we did in Casanova a few years ago.
The Lakeland House.
Yeah, the 2 weeks after that, the 13th and the 20th, we're actually going to have a guest come to our location that we do our show at and actually sit down with us. And we're going to talk about it was the one that we filmed the TV show for, and talk about how amazing this place really was. I mean, it was arguably the most haunted place we've ever been to. Mm-hmm. And we've never really shared any of the evidence with anybody.
Nope.
Other than the client. So she's going to be there live with us, and there's going to be no nothing. It's going to be hit record or hit live. We're going, and we're just going to have a discussion, talk about it. We're going to show that episode that we were on, get people's thoughts on that, and we can laugh at it together. That was from 2016, so it's been a few years. And we're actually going to show some awesome evidence. And because we have so much, we're going to make it a 2-night thing. So it's going to be the 13th and the 20th.
Cool. Now, what I normally would do if I'm in in your case, and I always seem to use StreamYard because I have, not only do I podcasts on it, but I'm able to do live videos on the same social media platforms that I podcast on. So I'm reaching out to every audience I can get. If you're on Kick, I'm able to reach out to you guys. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I'm able to go live and show my investigation on all these social media platforms, and I get so much feedback from everybody because everybody want to know where's this at, where's that at, Did you see this? Did you see that? But I started out just streaming live on Facebook.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I know Olivia's been working on that, looking into that, and doing the whole changing our whole streaming thing also. So it's a work in progress.
Olivia, if you need any help, feel free to contact me, man. Because there are a lot of streaming groups, and people don't understand is just because a lot of these streaming apps. That's my son. Just because a lot of these streaming apps cater to 70% of gamers, but that other 20% is for podcasts and paranormal investigators. If you look on, you'll see rows and rows of paranormal investigators on there that you probably never even heard of, but they are strictly on a certain amount of platforms, and they're doing good. One thing I always say, for every gamer that's on a social media platform, you're going to find just as many paranormal investigators or podcasters. But you can't have one without the other. You know what I'm saying? If you got a paranormal investigator damn show, you're going to have a paranormal podcaster somewhere around. You know what I'm saying? So,
interesting.
Huh?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You have to, just because the gamers are there, trust me, the paranormal investigators and the podcasters are there too, because we want to feed off of those streamers that are streaming live. But you gotta realize most of these streamers, man, they're killing like zombies. They're involved in something paranormal one way or another. So yeah, man. I mean, if you need any help with getting a certain platform out, you just having problems with Rumble, man, it's the next YouTube. People don't know anything about Rumble because YouTube oversees it. But Rumble is a little bit more lenient. They don't, sensitize you every time you say the F word or, you say something that somebody doesn't like. They don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot out there that you guys can really hit up. Kick. I just started streaming live to Kick 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow.
And tell me, man, they got over 30 million people on that thing.
I've heard good things about that.
How can 30 million people be wrong?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, guys, I mean, it's you know, and Facebook is the main thing. Facebook, it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. You know, and it's just one of those platforms that people are feeding off of. Like Twitter, I told myself I would never go back to Twitter. But I see myself streaming live to Twitter right now. You know, Instagram. There's a lot of people on Instagram that don't even mess with Facebook. But I'm streaming on Instagram right now. So you want to be able to reach out to those paranormal brothers that don't even mess with Facebook. You know, TikTok. The thing about TikTok is they make it difficult to go live on it. You got to have a certain amount of followers and blah, blah, blah. I think 1,000 followers, if I believe.
1,000.
Wow.
Who the hell? Dude, you know how many followers I got on TikTok? I got maybe 5.
And it's hard. It is so hard to gain traction on TikTok unless you have connections.
Exactly.
Like, it's so hard.
Hey, I don't have 1,000 friends. Hey, I'll be lucky to have 2. You know what I'm saying? But dude, I mean, there is so much going on out there for us, you know, as far as paranormal investigators. I mean, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you know. So, hey, you guys got to tap into that. Sean, one last question that I have for you before I let you guys get out of here. One last big question. All right. What century are we in?
Was that 22nd, 21st? I don't know. 21st? I don't know. I don't know.
I'm old. Yeah. So the question is, why are we still using 20th century and if we're in the 22nd century, which I don't know either.
Yeah.
You know, why are we using technology that has not kept up with paranormal? But what I mean is everybody's still using this old, paranormal techniques, still using these crazy these crazy gadgets. Why come we have not been able to catch up with the people that are writing the book?
I almost sometimes, honestly, I find, for us anyway, we have some of the most success with the older style stuff. I almost feel like, we do have a couple cool recorders. We have a couple newer styles, but sometimes I feel like the older ones we have work so much better because they don't have all that added filters. They don't have any of that extra stuff built into it. That being said, have we had success with like the SLS cameras? Yeah, we have. And that's a newer technology, if you will. That's something a little different that I didn't have 10 years ago when we started out. I never would have thought we would have had that. Shit, 10, 12 years ago, I thought it was cool that Jason Hawes walked around with glasses on with 2 IR cameras on them, because I thought that was cool. So when he turned his head, I was like, oh, that's so much better than having to go like this with a handheld camera. I can just turn my head. That's awesome. Now they have a thing that shoots out a laser grid and it maps things that we can't see with our own eyes. It's cool. It's exciting. Yes. But at the same time, it's like, you got to kind of, like, I absolutely, and I don't mean to be mean, but I absolutely do not like groups that use phone apps as a way of communicating, and then they call that evidence. Because there is so much into those phones that it can dictate. It knows where you are. It knows everything. It knows the weather. It knows everything. So how hard would it be for that to manipulate anything? You know what I mean? Like, I could be walking through a cemetery. My phone knows I'm in a cemetery. what are the odds that and I go to that ghost app or pick one, and I play the spirit box on one of them, and it says something that has to do with a cemetery. Well, it already knows where I am. How hard would that be? You know, we don't even really use much like the spirit boxes, like the ones that actually do surf the white noise. We don't use those that often either, just because, again, 9 times out of 10, it almost seems like it's just randomly saying something. And I hate when I watch some of these shows and it'll say something and they will pull at every strand they can to make it go along with what they're trying to make it go along with.
Yep.
And I just don't like that. And again, I think we've been really lucky. I mean, honestly, I want to believe it's also skill, but you know, I think luck maybe has more to do with it. But we've caught some of the most amazing evidence, which is a regular digital recorder. That's, as far as audio goes. I wish we could have caught some better video, but you know, sometimes video is a lot harder to get. But I also think too, you will start to see more equipment being manufactured. Like you said, Paranormal Field's not going anywhere. It is getting bigger. It's getting broader. More people are getting into it. It's almost like it's more accepted now than maybe it was 15, 20, 30 years ago.
Yep.
I remember in the short time that I've been doing it, when I started working in law enforcement at the facility that I worked at, the guy that I went to the academy with, he was one of the ones that I started doing it with. And we got harassed and we got picked on and we got, you know, you name it, we're stupid, it's not real, you know. And I'm not talking from the inmates, I'm talking about from the other guards. But you know, fast forward 5 years later, or I'm sorry, about 10 years later, 2016 rolls around. Now all of a sudden they realize, wow, Sean's going to be on this national TV show. Sean's on the news. Sean had an article with his group in the New York Post. By the way, that it was a full page article, and we actually beat out Zach Bagans, who had a little
Ghost
tiny Ghost Adventures had a little tiny slur, and we had this huge page. I have to throw that out there. But once that got out to where I worked, then it was all like, Jesus, he's going to quit his job to go do this because he's finally going to get paid to do it. It's like, what do you mean? 10 years ago, you made fun of me. You picked on me. You know, now it's more accepted. And it is. I think it's just the changing times, you know. Look as far back as when Ed and Lorraine Warren started. You know, they were chastised, they were ridiculed, they were called every name in the book when they first started. You know, and then, but now, look at them. They're almost a household name in the paranormal field. Arguably, none of us would be here right now if it wasn't for them.
Nope.
So it's you know, I think it's just the way things are changing. I do think technology is gonna catch up. I think eventually you're gonna have more people develop more equipment. Again, we're using a lot of the stuff that we use is for electricians. It's not even meant for ghost hunting. But at the same time, I want to be. You know, you almost don't want it to evolve because eventually, again, is it going to be too good? Is it going to be like to the point where you're questioning, is this really? We find some of the stuff that we get in the SLS camera, we have to go back 2 or 3 times because we have to make sure, was it that chair? Was it that pole? Was it mapping this? Was it mapping that? Was it mapping this? And it's kind of like, okay, maybe it's just too good that it's picking up on this stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to just knocking? I don't know.
You know, because the one thing that we all do know that book is been ever written. Somebody's writing, and it's constantly been written. So the minute we think that we able to catch up and to flip a page, hell, they're 2 pages ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so for every 2 page, they're you know, for every page that we get through, they're 2 pages ahead. And you know, and there's got to be a point where we're able, hopefully one day we'll be able to actually bridge that gap, you know, and instead of being like this, we can be like this. And we will be able to actually have a actual physical conversation with someone on the other side, you know, and we can actually get the you know, and get the, you know, just some of the answers that we've longed for. Now, once that happened, I might have to retire being a paranormal investigator. You know what I'm saying? So, but I, me myself, I can't wait for that day to come because I'm curious. Like I was saying to you guys earlier, I'm curious, about the other side,
Yeah.
and what's the best way to actually uh, do it is actually have a device where you can actually communicate with someone without, actually passing over yourself. Is so we got to find some way to close that bridge, and maybe the guy that building all these Tesla cars, uh, maybe he can, do something. I know Nikolai Tesla. I know he was into so many things on how to communicate with the dead, but
Yep.
the government decided that the world wasn't ready for that.
Well, so according to the government, they still don't know where all his lost papers went.
Yeah.
Come on now. Uh,
Yeah,
it's in that big vault.
convenient.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't help. I think one of the most frustrating things for us is, again, it goes back to we don't get paid for this, so we all put a lot of our own time and money into it. So when you do see a new piece of equipment come out, I saw one on one of the popular shows a few weeks ago. It looked like a little player on top of it, and all it really was an EMF thing that also played music, but it was designed to look like a record player. So if it's an older spirit, they may be more apt to actually want to communicate with it as per se like a K2, for example, but they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool idea. And I look it up and they want like $400 or $500 a piece for these things.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on. I mean, for groups I've been around for 15 years and I still don't have that much money to spend on it.
Yep.
Why does it have to be such a big money making thing instead of sharing that with sharing the knowledge? Hey, this is how you do it. This is how you build it. I love the guys on eBay. I actually do know a few of the guys on there now. We bought equipment from them who do build their own stuff, and they do sell it for a hell of a lot better price.
Yeah.
It might not look as flashy, but it does the job. It does it a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm an eBay fanatic. I love eBay.
Yeah.
And that's where you can buy some of the best equipment, like you said, Sean, out there. I can't deal with people from Ghost Stop. Like, oh my God. Unbelievable prices.
Yeah, ridiculous prices.
So I'm like, no, man, I can't do that. All right, guys, an hour and 52 minutes. Only felt like 20.
Yeah, we'll have to do this.
Good conversation lasts a long time. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Olivia, how do we get a hold of you if we want to contact? Tell the world how to get a hold of you guys.
So Facebook is probably best bet. It's what we all have access to. So I would say that's probably best bet. Other than that, I mean, we stream through Facebook, so we always watch our comments, and then hopefully I can figure out how to get other streaming stuff going. But you will be hearing from me because I've got some questions that need some answers. So
well, I have his phone number. So.
Hey guys, I called Sean. The reason why I think more paranormal investigators or teams should put their number out there, even if it don't have to be your own number, you guys can set up a phone where it's just straight for paranormal.
Oh yeah, we
Don't
do.
put it as your personal. Don't do none of that. Just put it as your personal. Because one thing I do notice is, and I do it myself, and I'm pretty sure you guys do it. Email is fine. But how often do you check your email? I have 30,000 unread email messages. So I know that I am gonna miss an email at one point. And besides, I only go back a certain amount of emails. So it's a good chance that you
Sure.
might just on something or someone that's trying to get a hold of you through email. So set up a phone where it's just strictly paranormal, and so where people like me can, that wants to invite individuals. Hey man, just I'm able to call you guys. You don't have to answer. Just set that voicemail up, then
Sure.
then answer it, then call back. Because emails are great, but they don't always work.
Yeah.
No.
And don't always work. And also, if you another thing, if you guys are no longer paranormal investigating, please deactivate your Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's weird. Because when I go through Facebook and I look at teams that have these unbelievable names, I'm like, oh my God, dude, I like that. I love the logo. But if you check it, 2005 was the last thing that they
Yeah.
posted. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I, so I just keep going. The next one, 2015. And I'm like, why not just, if you guys aren't doing anything, why not just deactivate your Facebook and just let it go? But a lot of teams don't think about that. They just, let the Facebook stay out there, and
Yep.
they're not doing anything with it.
I can't get off ours, so I post on ours at least almost every day.
And I try to, but it's really hard at some time. I like going live and telling people what I think, and
Yeah.
telling people how my day is, but otherwise that, man, please deactivate your Facebook. That goes for you, Instagram and Facebook. Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
you know what, man? It has been a pleasure talking to you. You are the heart and soul of of your team. And you do all the work. And Sean drinks all the milk. He drank all the milk, but didn't give me none for my cookies. Yeah, you see, I got a thing full of cookies and no milk. But hey, you know what, guys? It has been a pleasure talking with you. I really enjoyed it. I mean, you guys are an amazing team. Sean, you're doing a great job, man. A lot of support. I love the support. So hey, keep doing what you're doing, Mike. Keep doing what you're doing. Stand up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, looking at evidence. Olivia, I'm speechless.
So was she.
I can imagine. I hear that a lot.
I'm speechless. Okay, but you know what? Tell your grandmother I said hello and thank her for coming on the show. And for your other member what's her name again?
Amy.
Amy, she's sick or something?
No, she's in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
She's in the Bahamas. Well, tell Amy she can at least jump in for a minute and say hello, but she's down there sucking on those Bahama mamas, and living the good life. She's probably on the beach or, in the reggae bars getting drunk off that Jamaican rum. But guys, it has been a pleasure, man. Let's do it again. I would love to. I would love next time to have Sean, having Amy on the show, and just to pick her mind, see what she thinks, and so on and so on. And just call in, just check on you guys, see how you guys are doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure you'll be hearing from Olivia soon.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, we will.
Olivia, I mean, there's a lot of things we can talk about, as far as, social media platforms. But, as one thing we do know, one thing, it's total evolving. These platforms are evolving every day. Somebody is constantly working on them to make them better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, guys, what do you have to say for the audience one last time? Sean?
I would say just keep checking us out every Tuesday nights at
Yep.
7:00. Come the summertime, and when we pick up with more investigating, we might be moving it to every other Tuesday night, but we're still going strong with every Tuesday. Other than that, if you know of a location, still reach out. You know, we do travel extensively throughout New York State, so we've been all over the place, and we don't mind driving, so it's not a big deal.
Well, come on to Texas.
Yeah.
I need to come down.
Someday I'd love to, but that's a long drive.
It's a long drive. If you fly, take the train.
Yeah, but then I got to pay for all that equipment, and it's just a lot of money. Yeah.
Take the train, man. You be all right.
Yeah. Well, I could sleep if I do that.
You know, I'm talking about the freight train.
Oh, I can sleep on there too. That's fine. They won't even know I'm there.
All right. Anyway, guys, it like I say, man, it's been a pleasure, man. You guys have made me laugh, and hopefully I did the same for you guys, you know, and I've asked, you know, a lot of questions that'll make you think, you know, and you guys asked me a lot of questions that would make me think, you know, because Sean, you got me on that last one. I'll probably be thinking about that question while I'm sleeping. You know, somebody, if I'm knocking on the door, you think somebody, yeah, it's a good chance that's probably happening. I'll be up to 2:00 wondering about that one. In the meantime, hey guys, this is Terry with NSPS TV in the Lion's Den. Hey man, with another great team. Hey, and I wish you guys a great night. You know, so make sure you go out, guys, and support this team. Make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe on them. Let's give them some of that Texas side support. You know what I'm saying? So in the meantime, peace. You guys have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Uh-huh.